topic that I'm talking about is actually quite extensive. And I'm sure, we'll not be able to do justice within 1 hour, but I'm going to try and see how much I could talk, how much I could include in this. I'll also be dropping in my contact details, my LinkedIn profiles. You can reach out to me directly. I'll not spend time on this. Ketan has already introduced me, but what the 2 points which is missed out is the fact that I've written a small book on strategies how to increase SME business revenues, and I've also certified from the Harvard School online. I use the COVID time to make sure that I kind of gain this certification. Would not have been possible otherwise for me. So even the certification is focused on mentoring business owners itself. Okay. So if you go to my LinkedIn, you will see a lot of testimonials coming in from organizations across the globe whom I have mentored. Now, let's start talking about your journey to mastering digital marketing. Now, what I'm going to be doing is today focusing on the foundation that you require to put into place before you start talking about your digital marketing. Then we speak about your website and the SEO. What are the things that you need to put into place over there? Only then will we speak about content strategies and your digital PR. And ultimately, we'll talk about your social media or your email strategies as such. These are the 4 areas that we're going to cover in today. I'm going to be quite quick. So I'm sure that you will have lots of questions. Keep putting them in the chat. And again, you're also welcome to reach out to me on my email ID. I'll be sharing my email IDs and my LinkedIn profile. So anytime later on you want to clarify information, you're welcome to do that. So to begin with, here is an assessment that I'm going to be sharing with all of you. I will be sharing this later during the I'll share a link with you. So where you can access this assessment. It's a self-assessment where you can identify at what level you're currently at. And it will also give you a good understanding of what are the things that you need to do in the future. The simple metrics and the link which I'm going to share you will also give you the instructions. After you do your assessment, again, you're welcome to reach out to me and to talk to me about where you are and where you want to be. Okay, so now let's start with your digital marketing. Before you start planning your digital marketing strategies, you need to ask yourself, why do you want to do your digital marketing? What is it that you're expecting from this digital marketing? Now, the answers to your whys could be any one of these 5. It could be growth. You looking at growing your organization, profitability, wanting a market share, customer retention, and diversification. The reason this is important is if you're based on your answers, we will be focusing on different parts of your digital marketing journey. For example, when talking about growth, we're going to talk about the top of the funnel and the middle of the funnel. Whereas when talking about profitability, we're talking about the bottom of the funnel, right? I'm going to share this. I'm going to give you this example as we're talking about this. So unless you know why do you want to do digital marketing? What do you want to achieve by it? You will end up wasting a lot of time and resources trying to focus on everything, which will not give you the desired results. So now what do I mean by this? I think there's an echo. Okay. So for us, that's one of the other ways for you to know your why is to set your goals. Now, this is a simple funnel which I have put in over here. And I have divided the funnel into 5 segments based on a B2B businesses. So we have the target audience that we're going to be reaching out to, and the inquiry that comes in from the target audience. There may be the feature discussion that we have with them, and then the commercial proposal is sent and discussions happen around pricing, and only then in the end is the sales close. So if you see, we've got top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. If we try to put our goals, what do I mean by putting on the goals, right? So we say, let's say that your goal, actually, we're working backwards. From the bottom up, we're going to work. Say that your goal is that every month you need to raise 15 invoices of average of 50,000 rupees in INR, which is about 25 lakhs per month. That's your goal. So now if you work backwards, and you say that for me to actually raise 50 invoices at a 30% conversion rates between proposals and sales close, I need to actually send out 167 proposals. For me to send out 167 proposals at a 40% conversion rate, I need to have 417 feature discussions per month. Okay. And for me to be able to have 417 feature discussions at a 20% conversion rate for inquiries that I receive, I need to receive 2,083 inquiries, and at a 10% conversion rate, I need to actually reach out to 20,833 target customers per month for me to actually, in the end, land up with 50 invoices of 50,000 rupees, which is equal to 25 lakhs per month. When I do this exercise with a lot of the SMEs, they are surprised when they do these numbers. Why? One is they don't, is just that they never, the thought that 20,800, I need to reach out to 20,800 target customers per month. This is quite surprising because they never look at that. The second thing is that the conversion rates, right? They're not aware what are the conversion rates. So this is the starting point for you to go and start measuring your conversion rates. Go back to your organization, see how many at each, how many inquiries you need to receive for it to be converted into a feature discussion. How many proposals are sent after how many feature discussions, etc. Right? So get these numbers down. Now, once you get these goals based on each segment, each segment of your entire funnel, what happens is you get to understand, one is at which level you're where do you need to focus on. So if you're focusing on your growth, if you remember the earlier slide, then means you need to focus on getting those 20,000 target customers and 2,083 inquiries. So maybe you can look at how do I reach more customers and how do I improve the 10% conversion rates to 20% conversion rates. That's one way of looking at it. If you're looking at market share, then we are looking at the bottom of the funnel. So how do I improve my 30% conversion rate of the proposals into invoices, right? So if you have this clarity, you will be able to pinpoint where to focus your efforts into the entire in the funnel instead of focusing across all segments as such. And this is very important. If you're able to do this, if you're able to crack this, you will notice that you can, with smaller amount of effort, you will be able to see bigger impacts. Now that you have your goals, let's look at your customer persona. In B2B, you can have different types of personas. It is not always just the buyer. The buyer typically is a person who has the authority to negotiate with you. But you will also have different categories of other categories of personas. For example, initiators, people who actually introduce the idea of buying your product or service to the business owner. So if you're able to identify who's the initiator, your marketing is actually aimed at targeting this initiator. The user could be a person who's using the product and services. He may or may not have any authority, any say on it. So if you are selling a B2B software, for example, our HRM software, the user is a person who's using the HR software, maybe an executive, but he or she doesn't have the authority. It is the finance head or the HR head who's going to have the authority. Then you've got the influencers. These are the ones who will, again, influence your buying decision. So if you have people within your organization, for example, right now today, Vadwani is an influencer for many organizations who influence SMEs to invest in digitization. That's a role of an influencer. So if you ally yourself along with influencers, it also will open up much more doors for you. I already spoke about buyers. Then the deciders. The deciders are almost like the signing authority, the one who will have the final say. They listen to what everybody else is saying. The initiators, influencers, buyers, and users, and they make the final decision. Gatekeepers. So these are those pesky people who will control whether information reaches the right people within the organization. And it could be anybody from the front receptionist to the EA of the CXOs, right? So you also need to be able to tap them so that you are able to make sure that your product information, your service information reaches the decision makers. So these are the different personas. So when you are thinking about your marketing, or your digital marketing strategies. Identify which of current content, to which of these personas are they addressing. Are you missing out some personas, and that is the reason it's not actually working out for you? So identify the persona that you current, we can do a quick audit and see which, even your website or your social media, which persona is it talking to. Now, how do you identify, what are the things that you need to know about your persona? Broadly, everybody I've seen, they do the first two things very, very well, the geographies and the demographics. They know which geographies, what's the gender, what's the income, etc., etc. It's a psychographic and the behavior which is actually more powerful than that. Okay, it is like, why are they using your product? What is the intent of using, of even talking to you? What is the buyer stage? Are they at the stage where they're just inquiring, doing the market research, or at the stage where they are finalizing the product? What are the attitudes that they have? What are the benefits that they're looking for? What is their life cycle stage? Are they the beginning stage of the product usage, or they're the stage where they're reusing it? They've already used a similar product in the thing, they want to upgrade the product, right? So all of these are these are actually more difficult to information to do this, to get this. And this can actually only be possible if you go back to your existing customers and do qualitative analysis, do interviews, question them, ask them about why they have purchased products from you, what was the usage that they used, what was the intention, what was the buyer stage at that time, etc. So this is the information is only going to be possible if you go back to your existing customers and ask them this. And based on that, you map up your future customers. Okay. Now that you've understood your customers, it's time for you to understand your competition. We remember we still haven't even started talking about a digital strategy. We just are looking at the ecosystem right now. Now, competition. This is a common question people ask me. Okay, but what should I know? How much should I know about my competition? And I say that everything that you know about your business, you should know about the competition. It's at that level of intimacy that you need to know your competition. So, Sridhar, this is my example I was telling you here. So there are three types of competitions that I like to map. One is the direct competitor, using the example of a freight forwarding services. Every business that offers exactly what you offer is a competitor. Then you've got the indirect ones. These are businesses that offer alternatives for a freight forwarding service. Maybe an organization that is leasing transport vehicles could be an alternative, though they're not directly in the freight forwarding. They're in this space where they're leasing our transport vehicles, and it's an additional option for the client to go to instead of going for a freight forwarding services, especially if the organization has has a high level of volume as such, right? Now, aspirational. I like to do this because identify a business that you want to be like in the future. So Maersk, for example, in the freight forwarding business, you may not be at the level of Maersk, which is okay, but you identify somebody who's aspirational. Why is that? Because somebody like Maersk has already established their brand. They're already doing a lot of digital marketing. They've already figured out the ecosystem, the customer personas, the competition, the kind of channels to use. So all that you need to do is follow them, copy paste what they are doing, adapting it to your business. So it's always good to see what your aspirational competition is also doing. It will shorten your own journey of digital marketing. Okay, now that you have identified the competition, I want you to map yourself out. So you look at what are the attributes that you are talking in your digital marketing, and what is it that your company is providing, and what is it that your competitor is providing. Map it out in a simple table such as this. This is this is a place where you may also work with your sales team to identify what are the kind of questions, information, objectives that they receive when they are out in the field about the competition. So when you do this exercise, this is what happens to you. You will see that certain attributes where everyone has this attribute. Everyone has it, everyone's talking about it. So if you are also going to talk about it in your marketing, you're not making any difference in the minds of your customer. So what do? You look at other attributes, like look at the attribute number 5. Nobody has this attribute, only you. This is something that becomes your unique selling proposition if it is important to your customer. Okay, so please validate if it is important to your customer. So then this is what you talk about, because nobody else is talking about. You are doing this, and it is important for your customer. This becomes your unique selling proposition. Now, what happens other thing? If there is another attribute where you are not doing it, but your customer, your competitors are doing it. So in this is the area where you don't talk about it in your marketing, or either you give this information to your product team and ask them if this is something that they can develop. But this is not a part of your marketing, because this is one of your weakness. Or if you have another attribute which is better than this, then you talk about that attribute. Okay. Now, attribute like these, where some of you have it, some of you don't have it, it is still good to talk about it, because some of the competitors don't have it, so you can actually use this. And again, some of them where you don't have these attributes, some of them have it, some of them don't have it, is better for you not to talk about it. It's a decision that you can make. But I'm hoping that you see that your marketing messaging actually is getting impacted by what your competition is talking about. It is so your marketing messaging is not in a silo by itself. It is also a reflection of what your competition is doing out there in the market. Now, how do you bring both the customer persona and the competition together? This is what you do. You define the customer personas. You define what is the pain, challenges, needs that they have. What is it that you are offering, and what is the competition talking about it? So you actually bring this together, right? And when you do this, this is where your content becomes so much more stronger, because you understand now that the competition is not talking about certain things or which is directly impacting the customer. So that's the message that you're going to shout out the most. So before I go to the next slide, any questions on this? Before I go on to the website and the SEO, any questions on the goals, the customer persona, and the competition mapping? How do you bring all the three of them together?
No, that's okay.
That's okay? Okay, so shall I move ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. So now that you have understood, you have all the knowledge here, this is the time for you to start building your website and your SEO. So your website is just not about sharing information. I see this mistake with a lot of B2B businesses, right? The website is just a place to collect all the information about their business. But rather than that, it is about establishing your credibility as an organization. So if you make this mind shift, the content that they're going to be putting in the website is going to make a huge difference in your marketing. What do I mean by that is that the content would actually start generating leads for you rather than just giving information to the customer. So how do we do that? I've just put a very simple list of things over here. Some of them are very, very obvious. Make your site mobile friendly, easy to navigate, etc. Search engine optimization. What I really like is your website also should have a clear call to action. Do you want your customers to fix up appointments with you? Then make it very bold and on your face about this is where you go and for fixing appointment. Put a link over there, put a Calendly, whatever it is, to give them access to making the appointments. Make it very easy for them to do that. If you want them to call back, if you want them to ask for callbacks, then you just put a simple box and say, just share your mobile number and we will call you back. Make it very easy. Don't put long, lengthy forms. They may not want to fill up all of those things. Just make it easy for them to get that first action. During your discussion, whether it's an appointment or a callback, at that time, you can gather more information. But the first step, make it extremely easy for them to connect with you. The other thing is that, as I said, if you're not supposed to be sharing this information about your products, what can you do? You can actually showcase educational content which is educating the customer around around your product or services. This is also the place where you can add educational content for all the different types of customer personas. Okay. Then demonstrate your firm's expertise, testimonials, case studies, events, webinars. Again, I see a lot of organizations who have got testimonials, but they don't ever put it up. They would come, some of the companies I work with, they actually on a month-on-month basis, when we do a monthly reviews, they share what the customers are giving the testimonials. But all of these testimonials are in the inbox of all the salespeople. It's actually not collected anywhere in a place that is visible to potential customers, and that's such a waste of good testimonials. So make sure you put in a system where every testimonial, whatever, even if it's a small testimonial, collect up in a place, because it validates validates your expertise. Case studies, events, webinars, awards that you have received, all of these, put them on your website, because this is the space. Even if somebody else is not going, you can, when you're in a sales discussion with the customer, you can point them towards that link and say, hey, you know what, you want to know about which of the customers that we worked about, that's there, this information is already there on the website, right? The other thing is premium content, white papers. I'll be sharing some more examples around this. These are more information is going to take a lot more time for you to create. So maybe you can actually tag them as a premium content, ask for mobile number or email IDs or mobile numbers before they can download this content, especially B2B, because a lot of your products, a lot of your business services have a knowledge base. There's a lot of information, education things that you can do. So it's always good for you to actually use white papers at a matured stage of your digital marketing. Use analytics. It's surprising that a lot of people don't use analytics, or if they do analytics, the website developer has that information, but not the marketing team or the CEO does not have this information. So without having the analytics, you will not know how is your website faring. So from where are the traffic coming in? Where is the traffic focusing? What pages are they focusing? How long are they spending on your website? What is the bounce rate? How are they reaching your website? Are they coming through organic searches or paid searches or your advertisements, etc.? So make sure that you have your website analytics integrated. I know it sounds very basic. So for those of you who are already doing this, kudos to you guys. For those who are not doing this, this is almost like a simple checklist that you can put into place. Then the next thing that you need to do is look at your SEO. Now, SEO is a long game. It will take you time to start ranking on the first pages of Google. But but if you don't start today, you'll never reach there. But the easiest thing to do for those of you who have not even started on their SEO journey is to start with your on-page SEOs. It's simple. It does not need technical information. It can be done by a website developer itself separately. Looking at the kind of content, your headlines, your HTML tags, etc. All of these things can be easily done on your on-page SEO. Make sure this is like a default. It has to be done. There is absolutely no reason for you not to be doing that. Then we have the off-page SEO, where we're looking at link building, looking at influencer marketing, social media, keywords, etc. But not all of you will get into the off-page SEO right now if you're starting your digital journey. But for those of you who are, and of course, that's the next level of things. And I've highlighted keywords, and I'll be explaining how we're going to be using keywords also, right? So the interesting thing is, by now you've understood your customers, you've understood your competitions, and all of this information will help you write the right content and identify the right keywords for your SEO also. Is there a question on that?
No, that was me,
okay,
Neetu.
Done. Okay. Now that you have understood all of this, let's look at the content marketing strategy. What is your content strategy? first thing, content strategy is not just about your product or services. It is not about promoting. It is not about telling people buy, 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 buy. Are you ready to buy? Are you ready to buy? I am selling. I am selling. It is not just that. It is not just about creating awareness. It is not just about creating a brand. What is the content strategy? Excuse me. It is all about your customers. What your customers want to read or hear or view. It's all about that. Okay, it's all about adding value through educating your customers. Because you're in a B2B business, your customers would actually do a lot of research before they start deciding to talk to you. So don't you think it's a great idea for you to be a part of that research itself? So maybe your website becomes the page where they come to for doing their research, and that will give you a lead to other organizations whom because they see great content over here, they are educated about their problems, their challenges, and the solutions that they can explore, and they are the first person that they're going to be talking to. So if you're only talking about your products and your services, and you're not talking about the educating them about why they're having these challenges, what are the options that they should look into, how should they evaluate various options, you see that you will lose out the customers who are actually exploring solutions. Okay, it is about engaging them, converting them, and retaining them. How can you engage them? Ask yourself, what can I do? How can I engage their attention? How can it be a two-way street rather than me just throwing information at them? What can I do with it? Can I invite them to a discussion? Can I ask them to download an assessment like I did at the beginning of today's session? Okay, what can I do to engage them into a conversation with me rather than just keep bombarding them with buy product, buy. Okay, and it's about both sales and marketing. So marketing is more about relationship building, educating them. Sales is about converting them into a purchase, right? So it's about both, and it's also a place where you can establish your thought leadership. So in case you don't have any original content, you can look at what's happening in your ecosystem, what's happening in the market, what is the trends that are there, and talk about that also in your website, or in the social handles also. But right now I'm talking about your website. Okay, so this is how your content strategy is going to be about. Now let's bring all of them together. Your customer persona, what are you offering? What is the competition positioning? And then based on that, you start creating content. Are you seeing how neatly it flows? So now your content is not haphazard. It's not just something random which you're creating. You're actually creating a content which addresses the customer persona, which talks about your product offering, and which also differentiates you from the competition. So this is why I started with, with the goals and the customer persona and the competition. This is where your content will actually start mattering to your customers. Okay, now there are different types of B2B content. We always talk about white papers, but there's others. You can do infographics. You can do case studies of your existing customers. You can do a simple course also. So if you're doing, for example, freight forwarding or customs, so what is the new rules in what are the new the rules in customs right now? Because every country the rules keeps changing. They're like I'm told that there are about at least 100 different notifications that go out on a monthly basis. Can you actually start sharing those notifications and start educating your customers? Okay, this is a new rule. This is a new rule here. This is a new notification here. This is what the Indian government has changed. This is what the airlines have changed, etc., etc. So even that can be a part of your content in any format: image, text, audio, video. Initially, when you're starting it out, start it in a format which you're comfortable with. As you mature, as your marketing matures, then you start looking at what is the kind of content that the customer likes to consume. Do they like to consume text? Do they like to consume videos? Then based on that, you can then convert it to that. But start something that you're comfortable with. Now, here's another simple template for you to look at. How do you use the B2B content? So if your customer is asking, what is my problem? Why am I facing this particular challenge? I'm not able to do. What they want is actually education and thought leadership. So this is the time when you can share trends, benchmarks, um, basic educational things, how to guides, how are other people solving this, etc. If your customer has actually is more mature, they've already identified the problem and they're now thinking, how do I fix this? What they're looking for is now solutions, right? This is the time you talk about how does your solution, what is your product, what is it, or how does it actually work? Chemical comparison. If you see Amazon, there's a lot of that, right? In the B2C segment, you can actually compare between 2-3 different products. There are actually businesses like the Policy Bazaar, which have actually created an entire business around comparisons. The reality is that the customer is going to make the comparison. So wouldn't it be better that you help them make the comparison so that you're able to highlight the importance of your own product. Remember the one of the tables I did where we spoke about the attributes about your offering and the competitors of offering. That's another way of you to actually provide that information as a comparison to your customers itself, right? And then we've got after the customer looks into all of this, they're looking at now figuring out, should they buy it from you, right? This is the time when you're looking at case studies, testimonials, your strength, what is your ROI, what's your total cost of operations, how to buy, what is it working with, how is it to be working with you. This is where you do your pricing discussion. So if you see, depending on the stage at which the buying stage the customer is, your content also changes. So we invariably, what we are doing, we're always talking about the pricing and our product, and we're talking about how maybe our case studies, and it actually may not be the right content when they are at your earlier stages of their buying stages, right? Any questions on this before I move ahead? Am I doing on time? Okay. Any questions on this?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Oh, I'm good. Thank you.
Then we have the digital PR for leadership. Again, if you have a leader who is quite prominent in the market, this is the time that you actually also create a PR program for them. We are looking at, we want them to be a part of panel discussions, online reviews, interviews, proactively create a strategy on how do you create, how to make them visible, or your business visible, and they become the face of the organizations. So if there are review sites in your industry, make sure that you are part of those review sites. Make sure that you ask your clients to go and give you your best clients, your most happiest clients, to go and give give you reviews on that site. If you have a account manager or a sales manager, they're the right people to be able to do to convince the customers to do this for you. This is something which I find a lot of B2B businesses, they miss out on this. They generally have somebody in the leadership who's very prominent, but they don't make use of it for their own in their own digital marketing. And of course, throughout all of these, you are continuously measuring. So you're looking at number of from where the traffic is coming in, clicks, downloads, shares, engagement, mentions, keyword ranking. Continuously, there are a lot of matrices out there. I mean, we can spend just a whole session while talking about matrices. I'm just keeping the very simplest one over here. I'm sure your digital marketing agency will help you out on these matrices. Now we get into the email marketing, because email marketing is one of the most common B2B marketing strategy that you can implement for your organization. Now, even here, it's not just about just bombarding people with emails. It's not about just bombarding people with emails saying buy from me, right? Even here, you're thinking about on the content and what is the call to action. And the call to action should also be beyond contact me or buy now. For example, here, I've given the example. is, read how ancillary businesses are changing the automobile industry. Now, that's a long button, but it clearly tells them what they are going to be getting by clicking on that. It's an article that is there at the back end, and the article can be downloaded. Mobile numbers email IDs can be captured, or an appointment can be fixed, right? After giving this information, this is how we have done for other people in the industry. So very specific, because this is exactly what the customer is looking at. By now, you know what the customer wants, right? And just one email will never be enough. Use something called a drip marketing, which is an automated format in which you pre-design your entire emails based on the response of the customer. And I'll show you an example. And you can use drip marketing to onboard new customers, to upsell. So if you already have existing customers, then you can sell them nothing more, the next product or the next product. And you can also use email marketing because you already have a relationship with them. You can also use this for reactivating old customers who have stopped buying from you. Okay. And if you have done a demo, but after that there has been silence, it is again the time for you to use email marketing. This is an example of the drip campaign I'm speaking about. So you initiate one email. If they open it, for example, it's yes, then you send a second message. If they don't open it, and then you send another message. Or if they open it, if they click on it, then you send a fourth message. If they don't click on it, you send a fifth message. So like this entire thing is predetermined. You've pre-designed all of these things. And each stage will have a different message, a different call to action, and also a time. So you can, for example, here you could say that I will wait after 1 day. In 1 day, if they have not opened the email, then the next email gets triggered. If I will wait for the person to call me back for about a week. If it doesn't happen within a week, then I will trigger the next one. So each of these things can actually do that. This is really very, very powerful when it comes to sales cycles, which are long sales cycle. I have another example. I'm not sharing it over here, which shows how your drip campaign can actually generate more number of revenues, more level of leads for you compared to your cold calling. So make sure that if you have a database of emails, you actually install a drip marketing campaign for them. And each of those emails, again, what are the content that goes in that? It could be educational content, it could be content which is helping them make the comparison, etc., etc. I've spoken to you about the various kinds of content also. Only after you've got all of this are we looking at your social media. Okay. Now, for your social media, for you to decide which social media should I go for, it actually the decision comes from where your customers are, what are their pain areas, where are they trying to find that information for their pain areas, who are your competitors, where are they present, where are they shouting the most, and based on these two information, you decide your social channels. So it's not random. It's not, again, something which you do it. You're based on the information, on the fundamentals that you have put for yourself. Now, here's this, you can take a screenshot of this. This is a very simple matrix that will help you identify which are the different social media, especially when it comes to B2B, and what kind of content you can use over there. What kind of strategies that you can use over here. So I'm not going to get into details, but you can use this information. It's quite, I've tried to add the most latest information in this for your sake. Okay. Now, what is important actually more than this is what is the context? If you remember, which part of the customer's buying journey are you going to be using this channel for? What are the demographics that you're going to be of your customers? Because based on that, you can also choose what is your brand standing for. So if your brand is a very visual brand, then maybe YouTube and Instagram will make sense. And of course, what are your budgets? So your social media marketing obviously should have a budget set aside. Now let's get into the Google ads. Till now we're talking about organics, and now let's start talking about the paid ads, right? Now these are actual screenshots that I took from Google ads yesterday. So this is, if you see here, when you start going on the Google ads, that's again another area which a lot of people are going to explore for their B2B marketing. Now, if you see here, Google ads will ask you to select what exactly do you want to do. Do you want to do sales? You want to generate leads, website traffic, product marketing, brand awareness, app promotion? This is exactly what I said initially. Understand why you are going to be doing, because if you see, this is exactly how Google is also going to ask the same question from you. They're also going to guide you, or and by now you already know what you're going to do, so you have the information with you. You know which button to select. Then Google will ask you whether you want to do search campaigns, swampy campaigns, display campaigns, etc. This is where you know now about your, since you know your buyers, what are they looking for, at what stage of the buying journey they're going to be there, you will be able to make the right choices over here. Then Google also gives you a lot of tools like the keyword planner, the reach planner, etc. These are more technical terms. I would advise you, unless you have an in-house team, you use an external agency to do that. But this is where your strategy, what your homework that you have done about the competitors, what are they doing, what attributes they're not talking about, that becomes a part of your keyword, etc. Right? Your reach is based on where the competitors are focusing on and where they're not focusing on. That could be your, it will give you help, ideas, but where to add that information. So if you see till now, all the activities that you have done till now actually is going to help you on Google, because Google also is expecting you to have done all of this information to utilize their platform to the best. Okay. Now, for those of you who have never used Google Ads, this is again something which I've just identified day before yesterday. So it's the latest over there. So for those of you who've never used Google Ads, you can access this promo ad which is going on right now. It says that Google India will give you 20,000 rupees in free ad credit when you spend 20,000 rupees itself. So how much, the first 20,000 rupees that you spend on Google Ads, Google India will also give you credits towards that. The terms and conditions are already given. You can take a screenshot of this. This is applicable as of day before yesterday. It was still applicable. So you can use this for people who are new customers to Google Ads. Okay, this is only for people who are doing it for the first time. If you've already done this before, if you already use Google Ads, this will not be applicable to you. Okay. In the end, digital marketing is all about being it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It is, I've heard somebody say, you know, you put a Google ad today and you will get some 10 leads coming in every week. Honestly, it does not happen. If it happens, it's a beginner's luck. It does not happen. You need to spend this kind of time getting to do your homework about the customer, the goals, the competition, the content, before you start using Google ads or Facebook ads or anything as such. Your content is more important, and for you to get your content right, you need to do your homework. So it's a marathon. Give yourself time. We all know SEO takes time, but so there's all the information that you need to put across to your customers, to your potential customers. Well, that takes time. So make sure you do your homework on that. And lastly, keep a marketing budget. I like to talk about marketing budget like an SIPs that you have for your mutual funds. Set aside a certain amount of money every month and make sure you utilize it. Corporates do that, right? SMEs should do the same thing. Even if it is a very small budget, even if it is 5,000 or if it is 1 lakh, make sure that budget is actually, it's a part of your overall budget, and you utilize that budget, because till you don't utilize that budget, you don't know what things you're doing right, what are you doing wrong. So make sure you have a marketing budget and you utilize that month on month. Okay. How are we doing on time? Okay. So here I am. Before I talk about this, any questions still here? I'm either so clear about whatever I'm telling, or I've confused people, or people know all of these things already, so there are absolutely no questions. Which one is it?
I don't have any questions. Neetu, Ramesh here.
Okay. Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to quickly share with you. I want to know how to set marketing budgets. So if you remember, who was this? This is Suman. Okay. Suman, if you remember at the beginning, I had told you about your goals. Let me just show the screen this for you. Now, if you have these goals identified, okay, you will know how to set. If I need to reach out 20,833 target customers per month, as an example, okay, what kind of, if I put aside a market budget of just about 5,000 rupees, will it be able to help me reach these 20,000 people? That's a question that you need to ask. So it's all interconnected. So unless you set your goals, you will not know how much budgets you need to put aside, right? And it's possible that the first month you may not reach the 20,000 goal. It's possible that you need to spend some 2-3 months for you to reach over there. So based on your goals, you define your budgets. And this goal, this marketing goal, is stemming from your sales goal. So because I'm sure all of you have your sales goals, right? I've whenever I work with SMEs, I've seen they know how much revenues they want to generate for themselves. It could be a percentage delta from their last year. It could be something which they have an aspirational goal that they set them for themselves. So most of you know your sales goal. From your sales goal, derive your marketing goals, and from your marketing goals, derive your marketing budgets. I hope that I answered your question.
I have one question, Neetu.
Yes, please.
What is the workforce that is required, the manpower that's required for this?
Yes, I will talk about that now. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Now, the next question, which is should I when the team that is required, should I have a team in house, or should I outsource it? Especially with marketing, this is a common question which is there. So here's a simple way for you to understand whether you should be insourcing or outsourcing your marketing activities. I have created a simple metric and a matrix, sorry, and taking two parameters. One is the strategic capability of your organization, and one is the execution capability. Now, what do I mean by strategic capability? Till now, all the things that I've spoken about, right? Knowing which customers to target, which competitors, when understanding what they are doing, knowing what messaging that you have to be using, knowing how to tap the various buyer journeys of the customer, the buyer stages of the customer. All of this is your strategic information that you know, right? So if you have a high strategic capability and you have a high execution capability, this means you invariably already have a full-fledged in-house marketing team. I think Ramesh spoke about that today, that he already has a team in-house who's doing all of these things. So I'm assuming this is where you guys are already there. Okay, but in case you have a high strategic capability, it means you know all the information, like whatever I shared with you today, you already know all of those things, but you don't have an execution capability. That means you probably have an intern or a fresher who's joined in. I would suggest right now, do not try to develop an in-house marketing team. I would suggest that you should hire a digital marketing agency and maybe even explore a retainership model for now, till you understand what it takes for you to execute it before you start building your own execution team. Because the learning curve is very high for execution, because there's a lot of technicalities involved in it, and it is not you'll probably land up in a situation where you're frustrated that the results are not as good as what you were expecting, whereas you're paying out fat salaries, right? So identify which stage you are in these two. Now, in case you don't have a strategic capability, so whatever I told you today is completely new for you. what happens then? If you don't have strategic clarity or you don't have execution capabilities, I would say, sorry, strategic capabilities and execution capabilities, I would say that at least invest in getting a clarity of what you should be doing. This webinar is one example. The other thing, but this is a very short webinar to cover a very wide subject. So the idea to do is to actually even get a consultant who will help you build your digital marketing strategy. If your strategic capability is low, but your execution capability is high, this means that you have somebody who's good in execution, but this is a stage where you will not see results. You will see very interesting looking posters, posts, content going on, but it's actually not getting you that engagement. It's not generating those leads. This is mainly because of this, you're in this red zone. Okay, I would suggest that you're wasting your resources by spending money on somebody who's very good in execution, but does not have the direction. So this is the time when you either get a consultant or get an outsourced CMO to help you out with this model. Okay, so this is a simple strategy, a simple way for you representation of when you should look at teams that you need to hire within or externally of such, right? Now this execution capability also applies for different aspects of digital marketing. Example, you may have somebody who's very social media savvy, but not SEO savvy. You use the same metrics for the SEO also, right? If you don't have the execution capability for SEO, then you look at outsourcing it or getting somebody to give you consulting you and helping you out with. Okay, so this I'm hoping that this metrics helps you identify what you should be doing for your business. Let me look at some questions. Yes. How to protect our digital asset as we deal with multiple agencies and set accountability. I agree, Vivek. It is a challenge in today's world. It is a challenge. However, what I try to do is I think every social platform gives you the option of giving the admission, the rights to manage a social platform, but not own the social platform. That's one thing I would request all of you to make sure that you do that. Keep a separate email ID, which kind of controls your entire social platforms. And that email ID login details are only with you, so you still have those controls. Still small things like this is going to be helpful for you. Even your spends, which is there, have a separate credit card is got a limit on it, and only give that credit card or details to your agency. So these are small little things that you can do to ensure that you are controlling the safety of your social handles. Okay, so now let's look at the last slide here, looking at your digital marketing journey. I've actually already covered this, but I want to bring this all for you together. Your foundation is where you get to know your customers, competitors, your buying propositions. You start with setting your foundation. Do not jump into social media without putting this foundation into place. And I've given you enough of reasons by now, including the fact that Google expects you to have these answers before you start using paid ads. The same thing applies for Facebook also. Then you look at your website and your SEOs on that. Start with your on page and only then go to off page. After that, you look at your content strategies. This is where you can have content which is based on your personas, on your competition, on the different types of content that you can use based on what is your why, if you remember, right? Keep measuring. Then look into your email marketing. Predominantly look at your drip marketing. I would advise you for using email, not a one-time email. Look at various platforms depending upon where your customer and competitor is, and only then go for paid advertisement. And in the end, automation, CRM. If you already have all of these in place, this is the time for you to start looking at an automation or a CRM tool. Even your email automation, omni-channel presence, buying a CRM like a HubSpot or a Zoho CRM. Or this is the time for you to look into that. So don't jump into the nurture lead and the paid advertisement stage without having the foundations in place, you'll be wasting a lot of time and money without setting the foundations right. And all of this ultimately is a continuous learning for you. You will keep reiterating, checking and seeing what is working best for you, making small iteration improvements in your entire digital strategy. So with that, I have completed mine out dot. So this is my email ID, neetu@coachingforbusiness.in, or you can find me on LinkedIn as Neetu V Bansal. I'm happy to connect with you at that time. Okay, let's see if I have questions. For a medium-sized company having turnover of 2 crores for launching a new product, typically how much budget should be made? Preble, I've actually already answered this. This is not based on your turnover. This is based, your digital marketing should be based on how much of leads do you want your digital marketing to actually give you. Some of your leads, for example, may be coming in from your feet on street. And let's say if you're saying 70% of my leads should come in from digital marketing. So the 70% is equivalent to how much of your sales revenue. If you remember the funnel that I did, work backwards, and based on that, identify your budget. So the same company, for example, who is in the ancillary business, and another company who is in an e-commerce platform, even though it's B2B, they may have two completely different digital budgets. So it's not based on that, it's based on the amount of business that you're expecting from a digital marketing, and then your funnel, what is the conversion rates on each stage. Based on that, your digital marketing this will not come in. I can give you some numbers, but it's not going to be actually applicable in real life. Have I answered all the questions? Should we look at competitive budget strategy as well? How much and where they are spending? Shri Harsha, if you are able to get that, that is great. But it's always difficult to know how much they are spending. But if you know where they are spending, it's great, because it gives one simple thing. I don't know if you know this. Facebook has this ads library. If you go to Facebook ads library and do a search based on the content, for example, if you want to do a search on let's say wholesale, what do you say, some wholesale product, let's say wholesale stationeries. You go and do a search on that, you will see people who have run ads on wholesale stationery. Okay, and you can see how long their ads have actually been active, and what are the kind of keywords that they have used. So you can actually use that information. If it's been active for a very long time, that means that ad has been working for them. Then you can actually use that information in your own ads also. So you can do this research. Facebook ads library will be something that you can help you get that information. Anything else? How to measure the scalability of using these strategies? So the thing here is, Bhavna, the digital marketing by its definition itself is highly scalable, right? Once you have your foundation in place, it just means for you to move from one channel to more channels, from one type of content to multiple types of content, from one part of the customer's journey to all the parts of the customer journey. So that's how your scalability is there. That reminds me, I need to share the assessment with you that will give you an idea of what you're supposed to be doing in the future. So let me put this in the chat. So there is a simple form that you can fill up for me, and I will be sharing your email IDs, and I will send you the assessment. So if anybody wants to see how the assessment looks, let me show that to you also. You see, this first page will give you the instructions on how to use this. There's an example of other one, and then there's an assessment that you can do for yourself, right? What will the assessment tell you? It will also tell you, for example, if in your branding here over here, this is where you can move in the future. On your website, if you're already over here, there are other things that you can do to improve your website. So it also gives you a journey of improvement while it tells you where is your current status.